Hello my friends, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting kind of a dramatic sky winter landscape, I guess you could say. I haven't painted something like this in a really long time because I've been painting a lot of Christmas, holiday, pine landscapes, which I love painting, but they were getting old. I painted so many pine landscapes that I thought I'd change it up. So I have my piece of paper that's taped around the edges in portrait position. And I'm starting out with yellow. So we're gonna have like a mountain landscape down here. And I'm debating how far down I should go with this yellow, simply because if I don't go down all the way, then it's going to, like, the mountains aren't going to all be the same color if there's yellow under some of them but not others. So yeah, I'm starting with the yellow first because we're gonna go gradually significantly darker. I'm just gonna extend this down. So I'm starting a little, like, I don't know, a third way up. I'm gonna extend this downwards. Just gonna do it now because if I only have part of it yellow and I paint a mountain over top of it, and exactly what I explained earlier, it's just easier if it's yellow all the way through. And then work fairly quickly if you don't have cotton paper, because this may dry quickly on you. And we've got red. And then I want this top part to be purple. I want this red to be more red. I might do a second layer because I want these layers to be very intensely colored. So I'm just taking some purple. I'm gonna mix my purple with magenta, because to make more of like a violet hue, and then I'll mix that in like so. And I'm just gonna go over it with red to kind of make that transition a bit smoother. Rinse my brush, dip it in red again. And then I'm going to pick up some more yellow to transition more seamlessly into the yellow, like that. So pick out all this like so, and kind of picking up this highlighter yellow just to go downwards here, like so. And we have quite a nice little gradient going on here. It's not as dark as I want it to be though, so I'm gonna let this dry and then we're gonna basically do the same thing again, but I'm probably gonna add black at the top as well. So this should be completely dry. I just love when gradients work out like that and they look so flawless. And I must say it is much easier with cotton paper. So if it's not drying quite like this for you, it might be your paper and it might not be you. So once again, I'm starting with that yellow. I'm gonna do the same thing I did before because that seemed to work out for me. In the past, when I've started with the darker colors first, it doesn't work out because, why doesn't it work out? Because it's easier to darken a lighter color than to lighten a darker color. So it's easier if I overcompensate with the yellow to go over it with red than it is to turn the red into yellow. So I'll go even higher here. And then I'll take my red and go over the yellow a tiny bit, and I'll do the same thing with the red. I overcompensate with the red, and then I take my, I'm gonna add a little bit of black this time to that purple, that violet color. And there we go. I don't know if you even saw that because I tend to often go off the page. While this is still wet, I am kind of tempted to actually, I'm going to take a size 1 here, take some of that blackened violet and add some cloud formations. So, like so. Some thinner ones, some thicker ones. This was a last minute decision, so if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But I haven't done one of these kinds of clouds in a while, and I really like doing them. And then when I start getting into this orange yellow area, I'm switching to a more red color for the clouds. Okay, so I'm only going to go down about that much because the mountains are going to cover the bottom portion anyways. So I'm going to let this completely dry, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Okay, so my mountains are going to probably have kind of a bluish tint to them. So I'm taking my blue, maybe a little bit of violet. I can add some violet into there. But I mean, your mountains can be gray, they can be black tinted, like whatever, it doesn't matter. So the first layer, I guess you could call it, is going to be quite watered down, and it's going to be largely flat. So I'm going to paint it up here, I guess. It's going to kind of look like this. So you could have like some resemblance of peaks, but nothing too major. And then I'm going to fade this out as best as I can. Like, I'm trying not to, it doesn't matter because we're going to be painting over all of this anyway, so this part doesn't matter. We just wanted a very light first layer to be present. So let's let this dry. It shouldn't take too long to dry, that first layer, because why shouldn't it? Because it was very light, like it was very watered down. We didn't put too much. So my next layer is going to be quite a bit darker. Just, you know, experiment. It's a lot easier to go darker than it is to like pick up paint if you've applied too much. So be mindful of that when you're painting. And obviously watercolor dries a little bit lighter than what it looks like when it's wet. So our next mountains are going to kind of go across like this. So we want to leave just this tiny section here showing. And again, it's going to be largely flat, but at a diagonal. I want it to be more shallow than that. Like this. That will work for me. And we're doing the same thing where we're just kind of, because you don't want it to be a crazy harsh line, because that will show through the next layer. That's why I'm doing this with the bottom of the mountain. Now, mind you, the other thing I wanted to do really quickly before that dries is just add like little spikes almost to the top, because I want this to look like there's a bunch of pine trees. And I know I said I wasn't gonna do pine trees. I do not plan to do it like detailed pines, but if this doesn't count, because these are just like points, the tops of pine trees, like so. Just to add some variety. We don't want to have these flat planes. Okay, so there's gonna be a lot of stopping to let dry, so let's let this layer dry. Okay, so that layer should be dry. This next one is going to be significantly darker. And it's going to come up, hold on, what are we gonna do here? I don't want pine trees in this. I just want this to be a simple mountain landscape. I should have extended this downwards a little more, but what can you do? So I'm gonna have this coming up. I wanted this to be more steep, but I've run into a bit of a snag, as one would say, because I didn't extend this down far enough. So you can pretend to have a little peak there. We'll have another faux peak there. And then, yeah, extend this all the way down, but this time we're gonna kind of be consistent with keeping it dark all the way down. I haven't decided yet if this is gonna be the last mountain layer, so I'd rather just fully complete it as if it is, so that I don't have to go back and fix it later. Okay, and I do want to do the same thing that I did with that this one here, by just adding little points. But yeah, you gotta work quickly, otherwise this is going to dry. I don't know how I feel about this look. I think I'm gonna have a couple more pronounced pines coming out from here, so, because right now it looks a little sad the way that it is. A little barren. I wanted this to be just a quick mountain tutorial, but when do my tutorials ever end up being quick? I always have to keep adding and adding and adding because I'm never satisfied. So, how do we feel about this? It's so amateur looking. I really am not a fan, as usual, of how this turned out. I think I ruined it with these pine trees. I should have just kept them as just like the simple mountainous landscape with the sky being the focus. But I didn't do that. So what I'm gonna do is let this dry and do another layer. So this is, I think, going to be the final mountain layer, and then I'm going to add deciduous branches coming up in the front. And what was my point? I want to stick to this being like a no pine tree landscape, because I've done, like I said, so many in January. Or I will do some, it depends on when this one is released. So yeah, you can follow like whatever pattern you want for that final layer. I'm going to make mine a tad bit darker by adding black, because I do want it to have a nice contrast to the other layers. Okay. And what am I going to do? I'm going to add deciduous branches coming out. So, the question is, should I have some like barren trees? Just, yes, that is what I'm going to do. Okay, I don't know if that was even on the screen. I'm sorry if it was not. But all I'm doing is just painting branches off of this deciduous tree. I'm using my size 00 to do this. I actually quite like how that's turning out. Very simple, but it's nice against that sky. I am going to have perhaps another one coming out here. This one is going to be a little bit larger. Okay, you know what? That turned out really nice in my opinion. I do enjoy these deciduous trees. I'm glad I didn't go down the what I would call easy route of pine trees, which is what I seem to do too often with paintings when they don't work out. But this actually looks really nice. And I'm glad I went with the trees instead of just having branches coming across. And I guess I could still add those, but I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. It kind of turned a very simple amateur painting into something that looks like it took a little bit more effort. Oh my gosh. Apologies. I almost spilt my water everywhere. So I'm just peeling off that tape to reveal my painting. Not bad. I like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next painting tutorial.